Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Overflow. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
And for those of you who are new, this is the show where we discuss any and all of the, all of the questions that sadly we were not able to get to in the Q&A section of our podcasting. So, got quite a few questions this week, so we might as well just get right to it. Hatman, politics or entertainment?
I'm thinking politics this time. Let's start with that.
All right. Well, John Weitzel asks right out of the gate, exterminatus on Ireland for legalizing abortion.
Exterminatus on Ireland?
Yes.
I mean, there's lots of other things that you could declare exterminatus on Ireland for, but then you'd lose out on all that Guinness.
Yeah,
can we have partial exterminatus?
I don't really know if I can.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's not really an exterminatus if there's no extermination. Extermination all right. Is sort of of a totality, my friend.
All right. How about rain check exterminatus, but only after we have one last Guinness?
I'll take it.
Okay.
You know I love me a Guinness.
As do I.
Okay. Swordsman 100 asks, why is the left being violent so socially acceptable nowadays? Isn't inciting violence against the law? Well, yeah, but it's a double standard, honestly. You have to keep in mind the media is, more than willing to trot out people that are going to put out a narrative that the left, people in the left who are being violent or supposedly fighting racism, sexism, etc. They'll get Michael Eric Tyson and trot him out to support Antifa and whatnot, despite the fact that Antifa are largely white people, largely people who come from wealthy families, and are hitting anyone who disagrees with them. Not just alt-right members, because there's not many alt-right people, not many at all. From what I've read, I think it was the guy who's the head of Patriot Prayer, who I don't really agree with on a great many things. I kind of feel like that group is trying to stoke a fire. But he said that it's not very often that they get like a ton of alt-right guys trying to march with them, and when they do, they usually kick them out. I remember actually seeing a video of this guy who had I think it was no blood for Israel and Jews will not replace us signs with him in that march. And
oh, Lord.
Yeah, and people who were part of that Patriot Prayer group got pissed, and they had to pull one huge dude off of him because the alt-right guy was this skinny little neat who kind of a manlet, because that's the alt-right for you, and they had to pull him off of him for almost beating the hell out of the kid because they didn't want him to be there. But that's the problem, is that the left will do anything to get a vote, and that includes lower their standards to allowing incredibly violent and radical people into their groups, not really realizing that that's what's alienating the general public.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, a lot of their rhetoric now against the right and even just moderates is that, this is the big rise of fascism, or the second rise of fascism.
Yeah, it's coming
from
them.
We have to, so we have to fight it. We actually have to get out there and do some physical damage. And, anyone who is silent is complacent. So that's how they justify it. They moralize it. But then you look at the people that they're actually attacking. It's they have zero real influence. They're trotted out on cable news and make asses out of themselves, and only absolute morons will follow them anyway. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
but because they're fighting a good fight.
Yeah, and there's just stupid people will come out and just support them. I mean, today on Twitter, Diversity in Comics pointed out, and I had noticed it, and I tried to get an answer out of the guy, is that Peter Ramsey, the guy who's directing Into the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or as I like to call it, Spider-Man Into the Movie, where we're begging to try to make Miles Morales culturally relevant, Um, like he put out there, like the alt-right were like normal conservatives, and I asked him, I said, can you name a mainline conservative who thinks that the alt-right are okay guys? He couldn't. He could not do it. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, because these guys, they don't... A lot of people who are on the left see 5 people with Nazi flags, and then they think that that's somehow emblematic of America, because they don't... People of artistic minds don't like statistics, because statistics are facts. So, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I don't think it's as socially acceptable as some people would think, though. I mean, like I said, the blue wave is pretty much dead. But again, don't not vote. Just saying. But you know, that's part of the reason as to why. All right. Hardboiled Entertainment asks, who do we think that Trump will end up nominating for the Supreme Court?
Well, today he said he met with Mike Lee.
Yes.
I don't think, like, I kind of agree with what you were saying. I don't think Mike Lee is going to take it. Lord, I'm trying to think of her name. It was one of them that a bunch of people had said they were trying to block because she was like hardcore Christian and was against Roe v. Wade.
Yes. Catholic, if I recall correctly.
Lord, I'm gonna have to get into some Google foo here.
Because
Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, Amy Barrett. That's it. And I remember with Amy when they were confirming her for a different position, people were grilling her on the fact that she's Catholic.
That should never be a...
Well,
no.
It's in the Constitution that you can't bar someone from public service based on their religion. There can be no religious test. Like Bernie Sanders got into hot water because he did the same thing with, I think it was the Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't do that. That's against the First Amendment. It's disgusting.
And I mean, I guess everyone's forgetting the fact that they did the same thing to JFK back when he was running, because everyone was afraid, oh my God, a Catholic president, he's going to take orders from the Pope.
Yeah, basically. So I think that'll end up being it. It would be in pure Trump form to bring in Amy Barrett, because A, she's a woman. So if they can't play the sexism card, B, she's religious. So if they start in with the religious testing, on the Senate, it's gonna make the Democrats look bad, because he already knows that the last time they did it, they looked very bad.
And C, she would be the first conservative woman on the Supreme Court. So that's history right there, and we know Trump certainly likes to make history.
Absolutely. And she's a good pick too. She's a constitutional originalist. She was a clerk for Scalia. I mean, she's she's who I would like.
I think I'd prefer Mike Lee a little bit more, but we know he's not gonna take it up.
No, so. he's ingrained as a senator, and I think that's kind of the way for it to go.
Yeah, especially this being an election year too. It's like you really don't want to take that risk anyway.
No.
I mean, even if he is coming from Utah, like you still don't play it safe. You got to play it safe.
Well, not to mention in Utah, like it's already weird enough that it's looking like what's him face Mitt Romney is gonna get into the Senate.
Yeah. Weird.
He's gonna be a wild card when it comes to voting with Trump's agenda. So we'll see what happens there. I would hate for there to be 2 wild cards, because you also have to keep in mind McMuffin lives in the state too.
That is true.
I do not want McMuffin for Senate.
That is true. Eminem McMuffin.
Yeah, I hate that guy. He might be the dumbest person in politics, not who doesn't appear on Bill. No, he did appear on Bill Maher's show once, so never mind. But All right. Kale Bach asks, I was trying to ask, why did the Vermont governor, a Republican mind you, work to pass gun legislation after a potential mass shooting was thwarted in Fairhaven? Because he's an idiot?
Because he wants to secure his position as governor. And Vermont is very, very much a leftist state. Probably more so than California, all things considered.
Yeah, like there's not really that much to it. It's just pathetic more than anything. Jacqueline Inman asks, do we think the leftists are trying to create a place like Rome because it had a bad ending? No one wants to have their nation end like Rome did, and I don't want America to end that way either. What do you think? I do think that there is a push on the political left where they do have a desire to they have a desire to. Sorry about that, folks. But where they have a desire to, try to get in as many freedoms as they want, and they end up being, as some people would call it, degeneracy. Which, if you know anything about Rome, that's sort of how things ended up. But I don't really think that's the goal. I mean, I think they're striving for the utopia. And the problem with the utopia is you don't end up like Rome. You end up with either a Huxleyan future or an Orwellian one, and neither are good. Hatman, what are your thoughts?
What was the question about creating a place like Rome?
Yes. Do you think the left are trying to create a place like Rome?
No. No, they.
Expand.
Because honestly, I think everyone knows of Rome's failures. They want a place that would not fail, and honestly, I think they'd want something like more of a totalitarian state than Rome ever was, even during the times of Caesar.
Well, yeah, like when your call cut out, I had said that it seems almost like they want something. Well, they want a utopia, but the problem is that pursuit would ending probably looking more like a Huxleyan future or an Orwellian one.
Well, I don't even know if utopia is the right thing. It's basically just they would want a state where, I guess maybe a Huxleyan utopia would be where everyone believes that they're happy, but it doesn't really matter in the end.
Well, and that's why I brought up
consolidated.
That's why I brought up Huxley. Is there's that seems to be what their main focus is on, almost an extreme individuality of a world where there are no consequences and there is no real responsibility. Not like there is for any normal person.
Yeah, no consequences, no responsibility, and if anything ever messes you up, then just take some drugs and get over it.
Yeah, it's like the slutty blonde says in Brave New World. Everyone is happy now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it would be more of like a Huxleyan dystopia in the end, but no, I think it the very least it would be more of a totalitarian state than anything else, because you will start to see this more and more. People saying democracy cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
The people cannot be trusted because the people will always fail. And you'll see, 2016 as an example that gets brought up.
Yeah, and the thing is that we're also going to start to see their narratives come up because they're very flowery and sound good, and they'll take factoids, the same kind of strategy that the alt-right does. They take not facts, factoids out of context, throw them in your face, and say, well, this exists, so why can't we do, if X exists, why can't we do Y? Like, the average cost per prisoner is $39,000 per year. Well, you know, if we can afford to do that, why can't we afford to give everyone a house? You know, it's like, because first-year economics. But my response to that is, okay, fair enough. Bullets are cheaper. We shoot everyone, comrade. We shoot the homeless. We shoot the prisoners. Life is great in Soviet America, comrade. It's like you're insane. Like that, because that's where that's going to lead.
Funny story about that. When I was in college, we were supposed to write something akin to a modest proposal, and sort of give our own sort of things. And mine was literally, if anyone is convicted of the crime, punishment is death penalty. It would absolutely deter crime. You would have no more prisons, so you wouldn't have to worry about tax money being spent to maintain them or anything. And there you go. No risk of people going completely crazy on you.
Yeah, and that's basically the long and short of it. All right, Eclectic 1995 asks our final politics question for the week. Are churches here in the U.S. allowed to refuse service to a gay wedding? Yes.
Yes. Very yes.
And if
that was actually something that was affirmed in the Lord Masterpiece Cake Shop case.
Yeah. And thank God for it. You should be able to.
Yeah, really. Especially if about to say, if churches don't have to pay taxes, then they should not be expected for the government to come in and tell them what to do and how to officiate weddings.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just sort of the ins and outs of it. I mean, we have a right to freedom of religion, and you know, there should never be, it should never be taken away. Shall not be infringed.
No, exactly.
All right, on to entertainment. Let's see here. Damien X247 asks, if I had to disperse a crowd of hipsters, do I blast 80s era Metallica or 80s era Accept? Neither. Neither. If I'm going to pick a band to disperse a bunch of hipsters and scare the hell out of them, it's going to be Skeleton Witch. Or it's going to be the Black Dahlia Murder, or some crazy death metal band. It's not going to be thrash, because some of them probably are actually going to know what it is.
Or they'll start moshing.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want them. I don't want them to be happy.
I just play really, really crappy pop music.
They'd be into that though, because it's ironic, man.
Hipsters, bad pop music. You'd be surprised.
I don't know, man. I've met some hipsters who listen to bullshit because it's ironic, because they think it's hilarious.
I think you have met the ultra hipsters. I think they're evolving now.
Dude, I
dear God.
Every time I've met hipsters, they're like proto hipsters. They are like the hipsteriest of hipsters. It's crazy.
They're vegans, but they only eat meat because of the irony.
Well, no, it's just the they like, I'll go to like record shops looking for like old metal albums, and I never end up buying any because they're way too freaking pricey. But there'll always be like some dude in there who doesn't even realize he's a hipster. And then I talk to him about music, and he's talking about, well, man, back at this time, this band was so underrated and da-da-da-da, and nobody's ever heard of him, but I had heard of him from blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you know how much of a hipster you are? I know, says the guy in the In Flames shirt, but like, because like half the metal that I listen to, like nobody's heard of, but so I guess I'm sort of a metal hipster in a lot of ways. But yeah, I listen to popular stuff too, so it's not like I'm Razor Fist level of metal hipster, if nothing else. All right, John Weitzel asks, if we could get a suit of armor, what style would we get it in? Gothic, Greenwich, Italian, or something else? Can
I get space armor?
No.
Damn. Damn.
I am kind of partial to the Spanish style of full plate. Mostly because of how stylized it was.
Dang, this is tough.
Because I'll say one thing about the Spaniards, man. They had some pretty styling armor.
This is honestly really, really tough because I like the aesthetics of the Italian armor, but Greenwich armor is just classic, man.
I'm trying to remember Greenwich. Let me Google foo.
It's like your typical like
with the upswept
statue armor.
Yeah, with the upswept helmets. Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the Greenwich isn't too bad. I don't know. I've always been just partial to the Spanish. They have just a more interesting look. The Gothic full plate doesn't look too bad, except for the helmets. The helmets look stupid. They look like bells.
I don't even know if I can make a decision. Gothic armor is just not pretty to look at, though it is intimidating as hell.
Yeah. It's got that going for it.
Yeah. God. Fuck it, I'll go Greenwich armor.
One thing I always found funny is that people still think that full plate armor is heavy. You can do jumping jacks in full plate armor. You can do combat rolls. You can run in it very easily. People be like, well, it's 50 pounds. Yeah, across your entire body.
Yeah.
Not hard to get used to.
It's more manageable than people give it credit for.
Yeah. Let's see here. Crystal Wing 2149 asks, would I ever do a how I write video for the Thunderbolts? Maybe.
Didn't you already talk about doing one of those, possibly?
For America Chavez.
I thought we talked about doing one for Thunderbolts too.
Somebody asked just who, if there was an MCU film, who would we want on the team?
Okay.
But yeah, I'd consider it. I just the How I Write series is not a priority for me right now because A, I don't have the time, and B, nobody watched the last one. So it like didn't even hit 2,000 views in like 2 weeks. So nobody was really interested in. That's why I want to get a comic book or two under my belt before I resume that series, is so people understand that I am a solid writer, and I'm not talking out of my ass when I say that. So yeah. Autist Whisperer asks, have we heard of a manga called Monster by Naoki Urasawa? If you could take a look at it, I think you'd enjoy it. I actually watched a little bit of the anime. It was an interesting concept, but I wasn't really in the mood for it. So I'll revisit it at some point in the future when I'm in the mood for psychological stuff.
I've heard of it, but I haven't checked it out at all. So. And
let's see here. What's next? Do we think that the new superheroes created by this generation or the next ever reach the iconic status of Superman or Captain America? Well, it's not impossible. I mean, Venom, all things considered, is not that old of a character compared to the others, and he's considered iconic now. You have to just create something that resonates with people.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit harder, I think, because your A-list characters have been A-list characters for decades. In some cases, well over 50, 60 years. I mean, Superman just had his 80th anniversary, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But I think also depending on what kind of new characters will come out of the woodwork, and trust me, there's always going to be new characters. Whether or not they really are good, we'll see. But since we have things going viral on the internet now, it's possible that that's how they will get really big and good reputations. Like, Deadpool isn't that old of a character either. He really, really got popular, exponentially in the last few years by essentially becoming a meme.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if new characters that are made in the next decade of comics have the same sort of thing happen to them.
Yep. So it all just depends on whether or not the character resonates with people. That's really the trick. All right, what do we got next? Brian Gilmartin asks, "What are some of our favorite female video game characters?" Hatman's gonna say Samus.
Yep.
Brian Gilmartin says he goes with Sun Shang, Alice Landale, Rydia, and Claire Redfield, to name a few. Well, I have always been a fan of Jill Valentine. Who else? I prefer the newer Lara Croft to the old one, for sure.
Really? That's interesting.
The old Lara Croft was kind of a sociopath. With tits.
Yeah, but she was posh.
That's it, though. She was still a sociopath. I prefer newer Lara Croft. She's less sociopathic. I'm trying to think of another good one. Female Commander Shepard is fun.
FM Shep, yeah.
Bastila from Knights of the Old Republic is great. So is Visus Mar and the Handmaiden. Krea's great. Who else? Juhani as well. Juhani was always like my right hand in the first Knights of the Old Republic. Who else is there? The Arkham series version of Catwoman.
Grey Delisle's Catwoman.
Yes. Was always a fan of Anya from Gears of War. Other than that, I can't really think of that many more. And I know I just named a bunch still. Oh, Nina from Breath of Fire. Aside from Samus, Hatman, what about you?
Samus,
I said aside from Samus.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say Samus and. I rather like Chloe Frazer from Uncharted, though I haven't played the newest one where she's starring in it. I guess I sort of like Elena Fisher too, but I don't know.
Chloe's the one who is voiced by Claudia Black, right?
Yes, that's her. Oh, let's see. Here's a sort of controversial one. I don't really care that much about Ellie from The Last of Us. I never really got into her. She just seemed like, a smart mouth kid that needed a good smack upside the head every now and again. The kind of people that I scoffed at when I was in middle school, because I knew a lot of people like that. Jeez. Does Cortana count?
Kinda.
I guess I could also put Dr. Halsey in there, though honestly, she's more fleshed out in the books than the actual games. I think that'll about do it for me. At least all I can name off the top of my head. I don't have the convenience of my gaming shelf being in front of me, so I can't look and see all my games and be like, okay, which ones did I really, really like?
All right, and final question. Do we see Chris Pratt's MTV speech having an effect on pop culture along with Kanye?
I don't know.
I don't think so, and here's why. It's been pretty well known that in Hollywood circles that Chris Pratt is both a conservative and is a Christian. And he's also one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, so he is untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
So he was smart about it. He didn't start talking about these things until he was already huge.
Sneak the medicine in with the hamburger, just like he said.
Yes. So smart on him. Very smart on him.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but I don't Kanye was unexpected. This what Chris Pratt said at the MTV speech was not unexpected. I brave, don't get me wrong, because he could have gotten booed out of the building, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He got cheered. So
he got lots of cheers for his preachy bits.
Yeah, if anything, that cheering is encouraging.
Either, yeah. I was honestly surprised.
Yeah. So I would just say be encouraged by it, but no, it's not going to have the same effect as Kanye turning on the left.
I mean, think about it. Did you ever see that speech in any sort of mainstream news sources or anything outside of more conservative leaning or just outright Christian based news groups?
Not really.
So I didn't. I certainly didn't. I wouldn't have found out about it if not for those sources.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised that there wasn't any HuffPo think pieces about how he's secretly a white supremacist now or whatever.
Yep. I mean, meanwhile, we certainly heard about Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman there.
Oh yeah.
But nothing about Chris Pratt.
Though that was funny when Michael B. Jordan says, "All right, cut it off with the Wakanda Forever stuff."
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't wrong either.
Yeah,
you read the stories and it's like, good God, just let the man go.
Yeah, let him be something other than T'Challa for a day.
Yeah.
It genuinely makes me wonder if people salute Chris Evans when he's going down the street or something. So
no, they just say on your left.
I feel terrible for him if that's the case, but yeah, but the thing is I'm just happy that there's the chance that Hollywood stars will be at a point where they get so much fuck you money that they can believe whatever they want politically, and they're not going to feel pressured by it. Because here's the thing. I often ask people who talk to me about politics in the day-to-day, I say, what do you care about more, politics or Game of Thrones? Normally speaking, what they tell me is Game of Thrones. I'm like, all right, let's just get back to making money. All this complication's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Hatman, that was our last question. Go ahead.
Just one more thing. I don't know if there will ever be enough fuck you money or fuck you star power to be open about your beliefs. I mean, just look at how Taylor Swift gets treated, for example. Literally just because she says nothing.
Taylor Swift must resist.
Taylor Swift needs to apologize for not saying anything.
What a joke.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that about does it.
Also, let's not forget Ant-Man and the Wasp is this week.
Yep.
So I will be...
And Independence Day.
Yes.
I mean, this is a good week.
Tomorrow I'm going to have barbecue chicken wrapped in bacon.
Ooh, good God. It's delicious.
Because I can't eat chili dogs.
Well.
Yeah, that's a
I'll
bummer.
Have to eat chili dogs in your stead then. Because I just bought a bunch of.
Enjoy.
I just bought a bunch of Nathan's hot dogs.
Do it.
So I'm going to eat them, but not very quickly because I cannot earn that mustard yellow belt ever.
Yep. All right, folks. We appreciate you stopping by and watching the Overflow. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. We do these every week, and we'll see you back this weekend for the podcast. But until then, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
And we'll see you guys soon. Davis Volt.
Davis Volt.